still alive.
Dreams of brighter days, a vision that's crystal clear. Things you will do, this you will be in the coming year. Of course, it's just a dream. Reality have to turn. So the quest to conquer, the quest to achieve, it has now begun. So there's a move in the right direction, a plan well draft for execution, forward march onto a dream that now seems so dear. But on the road of execution, there are big stones and so much obstructions, and every bridge that you climb, another one starts to stare. Mountains you have to climb, but so many mountains in line, and the dream that you have now begins to slide. Attacks from a human race, spiritual wickedness in such high place, and a dream that was sweet no longer have much. Despite the rocks they throw in your way, hold on to your dreams. And some of the things bad mind people say, hold on to your dreams. Despite the racumba of the opium man, hold on to your dreams. The spiritual deeds and wicked intention, hold on to your dreams. Despite the missiles they out to fly against your progress that's now so high, you will live and you will not die. Hold on to your dreams. Quest for a better life, a land that's pure and so right, land of the free, home of the brave, no longer free and brave. A president in Donald Trump, a country turned upside down. What was un-American, no American, because of one man. So if you look within a country where there's no right, no democracy, tell yourself there's no American dream today. Still there is a move that you take faithfully to escape terror and bullets daily. But on the brink of escape you approach by a huge, huge wall. After miles of sacrifice and a barrier that's so high, your quest for freedom is about to die. Your joints are now feeling weak, dehydration, children feeling sick, and the American dream you just about to quit. But despite the pressures from Donald Trump, hold on to your dreams. In federal jail he will find his spunk.
Land and go. This unfair distribution, yeah, of wealth in the system, between the rich at the top and the poor man at the bottom. Everything that's good, real good, is for those on top. Oh yeah, but our misfortune and sacrifice is for the bottom. The sufferers at the base, always struggling to survive. With less and less, only God knows best why we even still alive. Rising fuel prices,
is the poor man.
All kind of taxes, done to who can least afford it. Whoa, whoa. Increased custom duties.
It's the poor man.
Cost of goods and services.
The poor man.
The businessman don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who just cannot afford it. Oh boy, it's the poor people at the bottom paying for it. Oh, oh. Mama boy,
Mama boy, boy.
mama boy,
Mama boy, boy.
woman suffering.
We suffering.
Mama boy, boy,
Mama boy, boy.
mama boy, boy, mama boy. Lord, 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 no. Whoa, whoa. La da 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 da. Oh boy. La da da. Oh. The youth from the ghetto, can't afford to go. No, no, to a chronic Montano, reggae or calypso show. But those with the money, plenty money, getting complimentary. Oh yeah, oh yeah. All the promoters, them too, helping to keep it so. The money man get the best seat, while the poor man outside the gate. And the poor fans who care, they can't even go near the star they help to create. Rising ticket prices,
It's the poor man.
all government levies.
The poor man.
The merchant don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who can least afford it. Boy, government expenses,
It's the poor man.
rising spare part prices.
The poor man.
The businessman don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who.
Just cannot afford it.
Oh, he's the poor man at the bottom, paying for it. Boy, boy, mama boy,
Mama boy, boy.
mama boy,
Mama boy, boy.
woman suffering.
We suffering.
Sing, mama boy, boy,
Mama boy, boy.
mama boy, boy, mama boy. Sing it out loud. Whoa, 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 boy. Don't fret to cry, don't fret to cry. Whoa, 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 boy. When come to work security, is more stress and worry. Plenty worry. Cause your job, as you know, here today but not sure tomorrow. And when things get crucial, real crucial, and it's time to cut back, yeah, it's always the laborer man, not management, getting the axe. The rich man always gets richer, cause society does give him more. Plenty more. And the poor man with 3 children or 4 in a shanty, sleeping on the floor. All cut back on wages,
It's the poor man.
high management salaries.
The poor man.
The merchant don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who can least afford it. Whoa, whoa. The healthcare costs keep rising.
It's the poor man.
More poor people dying.
The poor man.
The businessman don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who just cannot afford it. Yeah. It's the poor people at the bottom paying for it. Hey, oh, mama. suffering.
We suffering.
Mama, woy, woy.
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 Woy.
London, woy. Da 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 da. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, whoa, whoa. Who feeding the nation? Tell me, who teaching the children? But the more they labor, is the power they getting power. Tell me, who cleaning the city? Who to keep the people healthy? Hey. Man, they take and they take, but never get piece of the cake. The poor man put government in power up there, but the rich man get all the favor. Everything, everything. So I'm here tonight to play my part, to sing on the poor man's behalf. Who paying the VAT?
Is the poor man.
Who is the system doormat?
The poor man.
The merchant don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who can least afford it. Tell me who you see in prison
Is the poor man.
for the simplest reason.
The poor man.
The businessman don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who just cannot afford it. Whoa, whoa, it's the poor man at the bottom paying for it. Hey, 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 mama boy,
Mama, woy, woy.
mama boy.
Mama, woy, woy.
And a special good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I will be with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 5 minutes after the hour of 8 on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
The merchant don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who can least afford it.
It's the poor man that does feel it, eh?
Who you see in prison
Is the poor man.
for the simplest reason.
The poor man.
The businessman don't feel it, no. He just pass it on to who just cannot afford it. Whoa, whoa, it's the poor man at the bottom paying for it. Hey, 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 mama boy.
Mama, woy, woy.
Let me say a special good night to all the listeners, all of you joining us via the various mediums. Those of you joining us via 91.9, 91.5 Real FM.
Mama boy.
And those of you joining us on the live, let me say good night to you. Red Girl Pascal, Dwight Ferguson, Donis Paris, Denise Fabio. Hey, Glenda Robinson, good night. Amanda Charles, Crystal Theodore. After all our walk your walk today, is still dancing tonight, Crystal. Earl Benjamin, Kenrick Gordon, and let me see, Davis Charles, Claude Abraham, Mosquito Man, good night to you. Amanda Charles, did I say good night to you before? If not, I'm saying good night. And Rodney Barry, William Shakim, Desiree Joseph, Nurse Maguire, good night to you. Marishan, good night. And I'm seeing Maudlin, Davis Charles, Laslin Douglas, good night. Cindy Thomas, good night to you. Veronica Fedrick. Let me see who's there again. Tevin Simon, good night. Yvonne Courtney, Charmaine Ragbasing, good night to you. Wallan Akwat, good night. Miriam James, good night. And Jackson, Leonard, Mark, Agatha Debole. Debelot. Okay, Debelot. We go say it, no. Debelot, right. Nice, right. Jocelyn Matheson, Carol Celestine. And yes, Carol, I was listening. Gillian Prescott, Jill Williams, Claude Abraham, I think I called you already, Marvin Phillip, nice, right. And over on the YouTube, let me see who's there. Dominic Antoine, good night, Dominic. And Harrow, April, Nick, Public Notice, Magdalene, Marilyn, Stephen, Anastasia, Stephanie, John, Kim Creedland, and Gloria Francis, Kenrick Buckmeyer, Angie, Oswald, Devin, Manda, Agnes, Wilma, Dave, Baby Daddy, Jesse Sherry, Anna Barbara, Wilma, good night, Jocelyn, Eliza, and let me see, Janice, and Gloria, Jacinta, Brother Adrian Watts, Hillary Joseph, Matthew Boyne, good night to you, bro. Sherma Jeremiah, good night. Good Life, Hermina Batiste, Henry Shaitan, Ann Andrews, Anna Lewis, Christine Otley, Faith Lynn, Hallie Douglas, Jerome Lewis, Margot Philip, you see who's there? Jen, Beavis, Clive, Carl, Jackie, Kathleen, Vanessa, Alan Jones, good night to you. Alban Harris, Phyllis Mitchell, Deborah Laborde, Phyllis Mitchell, Michelle Alexander, Gemma Warwood, Anne Celestine, Wilfred Gavin, Marilyn, and of course, you know, I must say to my 3 beautiful young ladies listening tonight, Zayla, good night to you. Good night to you, Zoe, and good night to you. Let me see if I could pronounce it properly. Xavier. Right. I think I pronounced it correct this time, right? Xavier. A good night to you as well. And folks, of course, we're going to open the phone lines in a short while. We've got a lot to talk. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. Yeah. We have a lot to speak about tonight.
Mr. PM, I know it's been just 1 year, but I'm hearing a lot of concerns out there. Promises you made for the election, you say there would be no victimization. So now is the time for you prove yourself. The people really don't want to hear nothing else. We know that you're young and have vitality, so we want to see progress expeditiously. Like school of medicine, and how they treat Grenadian. Those who was not vaccinated, they got no compensation. They say you were the lawyer that kept them out from their job. Some say you was heartless, some say you was doing your job. So write them a letter and tell them that you sorry for all the people who got hurt and they lost their salary. Those unvaccinated workers who was locked out the gates, do something for them, Mr. PM, before they love turn to hate. Why? Because they are Grenadians who deserve your help. Do something for them with your government, they can't do it for themselves. I hear they say we not poor, we like handouts for so. But a lot of people really don't know what they eating tomorrow. Ooh.
So indeed, good night to you, Kenisha Licorice, Miriam Samuel, good night to you, and Mayana.
When the government changed, oh God, was like some people win a prize. I hear a fella saying, well, it's now the country go nice. Because we just find a PM to make the country grow. The man love agriculture, he go plant nutmeg and cocoa. But the more things change, the more it remains the same. A lot of people don't realize politics is a game. But when you highly au fait on politics, they cannot lie to you. Because they go know for sure, you will hold them accountable. Write Kit Mitchell a letter, listen what I'm saying. Thank him for his service, because yours has just begun. And running a country is not just old talk. Is when you foot in the shoe, young man, and you have to walk the walk. Hey, we are Grenadians, we deserve your help. Do something for us, Mr. PM, we can't do it for ourselves. I hear they say we not poor. We have money in we below. But a lot of people really don't know what they eating tomorrow. Lord. Ooh, yeah.
Yes, folks, I was just trying to get my audio sorted out for tonight, and I don't know. I don't seem to be getting it here. Yeah. Because, of course, I want to discuss the issue of what took place in Parliament today. And I say Parliament loosely because what has been taking place of late in our houses of Parliament, what has been taking place there is very, very, very troubling. I'll use an example. Today, leader of His Majesty's opposition, former Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, was speaking on several of the issues that are affecting the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And I'm speaking about things such as the cost of living, the fact that a lot of people are under stress. They are under a lot of stress. Yeah? For the day already, I've probably referred about 3 people for today alone. Yeah? To Dr. Pancho. People who have said, good night to you, Joyce. People who have said that they are going through a hard time and I've had to refer them. Yeah? And there are others waiting in the inbox right now. So there are a lot of people that are going through some hard times. Yeah? And Dr. Mitchell was speaking to that. He was even speaking to the fact that while some in government, and he mentioned the 150, and imagine, Dr. Mitchell is mentioning the 150, and you have members on the government side laughing. That is to tell you the mentality. Yeah? The mentality and casting words across the floor at him. Because he spoke about returning the 150 to these people who are in need in our country. People are not just placed under seed willy-nilly. They go under the seed program because there is a need. That is why they are under there. Yeah? They ain't just want. There is a need. That is how people are placed under that program. Probably that is why it's so close to seed. Need and seed is so close. So these people, Dr. Mitchell was speaking about them and saying, listen, one of the things that could be causing some of the stress that people are going through out there is their financial situation. And things like, 1, returning the 150 to these people is important because it can help them. It might be the medication, the blood pressure medication that they might be able to buy so they don't just drop down. It might be the diabetes medication they might be able to buy so they don't end up in a coma. Yeah? It may be some sort of medication for the eye to maintain their vision. So that 150 is important to many, many people out there. There are people that cry when they realize they lose that money. But while they were crying in Parliament today, when Dr. Mitchell is speaking about that, you have members on the government side laughing. Yeah, they're bread butter already, you know. Remember, they get extra $2,000 a month. While they take away $150 from the poor people, they get an extra $2,000 a month. And don't try to give this kind of nonsensical excuse that, oh, that is traveling, is money in their pocket that they can use. That they pay no taxes on, $24,000 additional a year. See some of them trying to sell it as though that's just for transportation and that sort of nonsense. Yeah? They could use it for transportation. They could use it for anything. You just get money for transportation? But at the end of the day, this is the attitude of these people. That he's speaking about an important issue as that Dr. Mitchell went even further. That he was speaking about the importance of the debushing program. And yes, we did say to the government last week, started on Monday. We saw it started on Monday. So they have some gangs out. Nothing close to what you would have seen under a new National Party administration who understood the importance of that stopgap measure to many people out there financially. There are many people that look forward to getting the little contract or to getting the little fortnight on the road because it helps with bills at a point in time that the bills starting to bite you. So you're coming down to the carnival season now and it's not about, oh, they want to go and jump up in Carnival or anything like that and buy rum. It is that immediately after Carnival, you're talking about school books and uniform, and in some instances, to many of us as parents, is before Carnival. You're looking at school books and uniform. Yeah, and even remember, they were saying no school fees, yet still, when people go to the secondary schools, you're being told you have to pay a 150 here, you have to pay a 200 there, a 300 and something in other locations. So it is still needed. That sort of, and up to now, I'm still waiting to hear something about the uniform program. I didn't hear anything. Can someone who is involved or someone who has benefited or someone who has been contacted in relation to the uniform program either call or message? Because I've heard absolutely nothing about the uniform program. All of these are measures to assist vulnerable people in our society, to assist needy people within our society. But remember, the Attorney General that they have now consider people not just to be needy, but greedy. Yeah? So they say needy and greedy. That is how they look at people. So they could sit down in Parliament and laugh when Dr. Mitchell is saying, look, it's important that you bring back the number of gangs we had under the debushing program, because there are many people out there. When they go and they have 10 people here, just using a number, you have 10. And you make sure that 9 of them is your hardcore supporters, the same people that you have working here and working there. The people are hearing things about people in office with contract. Yeah, working in constituency office, yet still have a debushing contract. And they're working in constituency office in specific constituencies. That's the kind of things that happening with them. Yet still, they're laughing. Dr. Mitchell is talking to them. He's saying, listen, help people. People are in need. Help them. But instead of trying to take note and saying, well, okay, well, we listen to you and we think we could implement this, we could do that. Or maybe the approach that you're speaking about is not the best one, so we're going to try it this way. Instead of looking at things in that direction, they're laughing. And then they're trying to disrupt him from speaking in Parliament. And listen, as far as I'm concerned, I think in the history of Grenada, this is the worst Speaker of the House that we have ever had. People like Reason and them may be rolling in the grave. Some of you know what I'm talking about when I say Reason. The older folks going to know what I'm talking about when I say Mr. Reason and them. These people must be rolling in the grave. People who, maybe not Speaker of the House, but like President, they sent like John Watts and so, must be rolling in the grave when they see what has become of Grenada's Parliament. That it become basically a place that these guys come and feel that they don't have to answer to anybody. Because that is what is taking place inside there now. So Dr. Mitchell poses questions. The Minister of Finance stands up basically to say that he don't have to answer the questions. Mr. Minister of Finance, you have to answer the questions. As Minister of Finance, your key responsibility, one of your key responsibilities, is to report to the Grenadian people on the state of the Consolidated Fund and the charges on the Consolidated Fund. In other words, money going in and money coming out of the Consolidated Fund. And Grenadians have a right, they don't just want to, they have a right to know what is taking place with charges on, into and out of the Consolidated Fund. So when they ask you, maybe you're spending too much time in blast, the air condition inside blast may be frying your brain because you obviously don't understand your job. You, Mr. Minister of Finance, for you to make a dotish statement, listen, let me tell you how dangerous what took place in Parliament today is. Let me tell you just how dangerous it is. I'm listening to the Parliament sitting. Dr. Mitchell stands and he asks the questions in relation to travel. Who made up the delegations? Where the delegations went? Who paid for it? The Minister of Finance gets up to say he don't have that. Mr. Minister of Finance, not information, of Finance. Mr. Minister of Finance, you lie. I, Sheldon, without a middle name, I have no middle name, just Sheldon Scott, I have no middle name at all. Yeah, my mother and father was straight to the point with that one. They give the others middle name, they didn't give me none for some reason. I am telling you that you are lying. That you are being intellectually fraudulent with the Grenadian people. That you are a stranger to the truth when you make such nonsensical, idiotic statements. It's between two things, you know. It's between your two dons to know, or your two dons not to know that the rest of us know. Because for you to come out to the Grenadian people and say that how you cannot give figures in relation to the travel. Let me explain something to you all the Grenadian people. The Grenadian government financial system operates on a program, a system called Smart Stream. Just remember that name, Smart Stream. There are codes within Smart Stream that accounting officers in various ministries and departments and so on use to report. In other words, a minister is traveling, they have to purchase a ticket. They purchase the ticket, but there's a specific code that speaks to international travel. There's another code that speaks to local travel. And if people have to get things like a per diem, in other words, when you travel, they give you money for expenses. In case, for instance, you get to the airport and there's not a taxi there as was promised for you, that you would be able to pay a taxi to get to your hotel or wherever. Or that you get in to a country at a point in time that the kitchen at the hotel or whatever is closed already and you have to go out to get something to eat. They give you a per diem in relation to that. So there is a specific code within Smart Stream that speaks to that. In other words, this is not to say that they have to take out a big book and write down so that when that information is requested of the minister, they have to go into this big room and pull out a set of book and blow off dust from it and go and look through and see, well, minister did travel this day, and is that because somebody sit down inside there writing with pen, you know? No. All they have to do is tell an officer who has access to the Smart Stream system to go in there, enter the particular code, and they will be able to pull up all the international travel that ministers and others on behalf of the government of Grenada, it's not just ministers, they have other people traveling too, have been traveling and how much it has cost the state of Grenada. It does not take weeks. It does not take months. They could do it in a day if they really wanted to. Mr. Minister, you lie. I know that they have Smart Stream and I know how Smart Stream operates. And it is not difficult to pull up all the international travel because you could get it by time frame. You could get it for this month. You could get it. All of that information is built into the system. So for them to simply be coming to Parliament and saying that, oh, we can't give you that information and we can't find that information. Mr. Minister, stop trying to make a fool of the Grenadian people. Maybe the flashing lights inside blast starting to fry your brain. Stop lying. Stop it. Give the information. If you all are afraid to give the information because the figure is so high that you all are afraid to give the information, sooner or later the information will come out, you know. One way or the other, the information will come out. So it's better it come out in the way that it should come out in the parliament of the country. This is a question that has been asked for the past couple months and you all just keep refusing to answer the question. If it's not the question was just received, is that we haven't got the time to go over that yet. It is now you reach to, we can't find that information. And you know, one of the worst part, Mr. Cornwall, you should put your head in a bag. No, not a bag of sugar, but you should put your head in a bag. One of the worst parts of this whole thing is when the minister, and this is a dangerous thing, you know. The minister makes a statement that not all the travel is paid for out of the consolidated fund. Some of it is paid otherwise. So in other words, the World Bank may pay for the Minister of Finance to go to a trip to Washington. That is true. He's not lying when he says that. The World Bank might pay. Yeah? So all you simply have to do is say that, listen, this trip was funded by the World Bank. We do not have figures in, but note the trip. So you note the trip. You say this trip was funded by the World Bank, right? And we are not sure how much it costs. Or you could message the World Bank and say, for accounting purposes, we would like to know the cost of the trip, how much the tickets cost, and ground transportation, meals, hotel, everything. Yeah, travel insurance if you have to use that, everything. Just give a price in relation to it. Ask the World Bank, because I'm pretty sure if you ask them for it, they can give you all that information for Grenada between last year and this year. I'm positive they can give you, because they have a system even better than SmartStream. Yeah? So the minister and the parliament, the government, is continually lying in parliament when they try to give you the impression that this is either difficult or impossible to find. But the problem I have there, another problem I have when they come to that issue of traveling, is when they start making the statement that we cannot give you the information because some of it was funded not by government. Who was it funded by? That's one of the questions. Who funded it? We want to know. Because next thing you know, you have Colombian drug dealers funding trips for Grenadian government ministers. Yes, I'm making an allegation here. That could be a possibility because we are not being told who is funding these trips. It could be international criminals. It could be terrorists. We do not know. Next thing you have agents of ISIS paying for Grenadian government ministers to travel. We do not know. Because why? The minister refuses to say, and he's acting like he don't know. Is it a case where they're traveling so much that they don't even know how much they're traveling? So you telling me a minister cannot say between last year and this year all the places they have gone? So I'm to the passport burn. The passport burn. Because the passport must have a stamp unless they're going places that the passport don't have a stamp. And if they're going places that the passport don't have the stamp, then we have to be very, very suspicious. Because you're seeing ministers jump in plane like if it's bus. Yeah. It's like if a bus running down by Granans. Ministers taking plane like if it's a Granans bus during rush hour. Every minute, one jump here, gone. This one gone. That, I am positive. If you check right now, you have at least 2 to 3 ministers out of the country. I'm positive. If you check right now, you telling me that they can't say who has been paying for the trip? Suppose the persons or organizations who have been paying for the trip are involved in criminal activity. Suppose that. Because they're refusing to tell us, so we have to speculate as to what the possibilities are in relation to this issue. Why are they so intent on hiding, one, how much they have spent on travel between last year and this year, 2, who have made up the delegations? Because we realize the Prime Minister traveling now like if he think he's Beyonce. Because he going with camera crew and all sort of thing. The Prime Minister going places, they're not announcing that he going with cameraman, and nobody bringing cameraman with him when he go in. He bringing executive secretary with him when he go in. The trade envoy. All of a sudden you see them popping up all over the place. Who is paying? Is it we, the Grenadian people? Is it the National Democratic Congress as a party? They should be proud as a political organization if they have been paying for the trips. When their ministers are going out there and you hear they're having town hall here and they're having town hall here and meet and greet here and meet and greet there and they're raising money here and there. When they're doing that, if they're doing that off of their own dime, if they're doing that as their political party, then they should be very proud to come out and say that. It shouldn't have a problem saying that. Why are they afraid? But the mere fact that they're refusing to come out and tell you that means that something in the mortar more than just the pestle. Something in the mortar. How can we be expected, to have any trust in this government when they're so bold-faced to lie to us like that? We have a call online. Let's take the first call. Hello, good night.
Mr. Scott, good night.
Hey, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm there, boy. You're forgetting me.
No, it's not a forgetting you. I have to do a new one. Yeah,
Okay.
I have to do a new one and then you'll be added to that new one. So, yeah.
I tend to not clearly understanding what you're saying there.
Mm-hmm.
And my reason for that is when you say that the minister say they cannot tell at this point in time, and you're saying that sometimes the foreign agency pay for the trip. I was a supervisor on a farm, and we have something called a pay list. We have what you call an abstract, and we have what you call a field book. And if we had 40 workers, I could tell you per day where everybody work. So if one fella was cutting grass, I have him under cutting grass. If one fella was jogging plants, you have him under jogging plants. So I could tell you for the day how much person was involved in jogging plants, how much person was involved in cutting tasks, how much fella was involved in digging holes every day. So at the end of the month, I could tell you how much person dug hole and what it cost. That system relies on estates. So to tell me that government cannot tell you, or if a foreign agency give and pay the trip, you don't know how much it costs. Something had to be wrong. I don't believe I'm so stupid. I don't believe that. And if an estate,
let me tell you this,
I could tell you what field the person work in, because all the estate field have a name. So you have a field name Thomas John Child, you have a field name Peter. So I could tell you how much person work in Peter for the month. That is and I'm telling you, that happens on estate. Most less for government, accounting department, statistic department cannot tell me what you're saying there. Something is wrong. Something is wrong, or you don't explain it properly.
What you're telling me there, now you said that you have the schedule, you have your books and different things. Now imagine a computer system that has all of that in it. Everything you're talking about, like this book, that sheet, that everything. Imagine Smart Stream is basically a computer system that has all that in it. If you go into Smart Stream now and you type in my name, you put in my name and, for instance, my tax number, you can tell if I've been paying tax, when I pay tax, when I don't pay tax. You could tell everything. You could get all my information in relation to what license I've paid, everything. All that information is in that system. So you're telling me that each ministry has a vote. In other words, they have money that's placed there in relation to the travel and so on. Yeah? And they would be able to say, minister has been out 5 times, 6 times for the last 6 weeks or whatever it is. They went to here, they went to there. This is the record of the per diem, because you get an actual check.
Yeah.
Per diem is an actual check. You get that. You have to go into the bank and change. So you get that. So you're telling me that they're printing checks and they don't know who they're printing the checks to? They don't have a record of that? You telling me that they're paying travel agencies and airlines for tickets, or they're charging for tickets and they don't have a record of that to say this is how much Ministry A has spent or Ministry B has spent on travel? Cornwall and them lie.
Well,
no other word to describe it. He is being fraudulent with the truth. He lie.
The old estate system could have tell you all that, and I show the public works where people work in could tell you the very same thing. All the people that work in road, the road gang, the what areas they work, and how much it costs for every area of work or road that work on. I show the road office could tell you that. So for that system, for government system, which is supposed to be a higher sophisticated system, cannot tell you that. Something had to be wrong. Or it's either you didn't want to tell us the whole thing, but something had to be wrong. Because that system must be in place. They must be in a position to account how much it costs for the Prime Minister trip to where, for this Minister trip to where, who pay for the cost, and how much it costs. Hotel and everything. That must be accounted for.
Let me see if I could play a piece of it for you all, so you all could hear for yourself what the response was. All right, my brother?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, you know what? Let me see if I could play a piece of that for you. I should have it here.
And reports from select committees. Item 9, unopposed private business. Item 10, questions.
Leader of His Majesty Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to ask question number 1, standing in my name. which reads as follows. Will the Minister of Finance provide this Honorable House with a list of the names of each delegation who traveled on behalf of the government from the 23rd of June 2022 to the 31st of May 2023?
Honorable Minister for Finance.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Good morning to all the members of the House. At the last sitting, I provided a written answer to a similar question. However, it was alleged that the Minister of Finance did not provide an answer. I want to state here in this Honorable House that travel undertaken by members of Parliament.
Just hold, Honorable MP for St. Patrick. Is Honorable Leader of the Opposition, can you turn off your light? Proceed, please.
That most of the travels undertaken by ministers of government does not necessarily be funded by the government of Grenada, or payments were made from the Ministry of Finance. And in that regard, I am unable to provide such answers. Again, the question that's been asked is relating to June 2023 to May 2023. Again, I am not sure if there is an answer I can give to that one at the moment because I have not been provided with that information. Notwithstanding, if that information becomes available, I'll be able to provide that in the next sitting. I thank you.
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, answers to the questions are not about what a member feels, is what is required. It's not feelings. Member hopefully will learn that that's the case. The question is very specific, and the Ministry of Finance is the one responsible for all government financing. In the days of computer and data collection, it's pretty revolutionary. So, Mr. Speaker, it pains me to listen to the answer, what is perceived to be an answer. But, Mr. Speaker, let me just make this point. Remember, I keep asking over and over that these answers should be presented before, so that when I receive it, we receive it, whoever asks questions, good from the government side too, they will be able to ask follow-up questions, which generally is allowed, as long as it's not out of line, so to speak. So the answer that I receive, and let me just read the answer. The total cost of each trip is not readily available to the Ministry of Finance, which is very strange. That said, the Ministry of Finance can provide a total cost of travel paid out of the consolidated fund month by month. If requested, the question was asked already. So I don't know if I'm requested again. This is not conditional. You simply provide the answer to the question that is asked. And Mr. Speaker, I just urge you to see to it that these basic things are done, because we don't need to have contentious discussion on simple issues like answers to questions. But I have a responsibility, Mr. Speaker, to ask these questions, and I will certainly ask that these answers should be provided. Mr. Speaker, as far as that one is concerned, I just make this point.
So yes, folks, Dr. Mitchell's question was straightforward. Who went on trips representing Grenada between last year and the point in time when he submitted the questions, which I think was sometime, I think in either May or whenever it is, or June or whenever it was submitted. Right. About 3 or so parliament sittings back. So, and this is not the first time that this question is coming up. Who went on the trips? Why did they go on that particular trip? They just went on sightsee. They went on as a technical, whatever it is. So who are the members that went on the trip and the cost? And who paid? Was it the consolidated fund? Because let me tell you something else. When it comes to the budget of Grenada, how could I put it? When it comes to budgeting, the source of funding is a component of your budgeting. So you don't just say, well, Minister Travel and the World Bank pay for it. The source of funding is important. And for your accounting sources within the Ministry of Finance and other ministries that have to send that information over, they would have to place the source of funding, the amount that was spent from the source of funding, yeah, because you pretty much can find out how much that ticket cost and so on. And if the World Bank or the IMF or whoever is sending you out of Grenada on something and they provide a per diem, obviously you would have that figure, you would know, because there are forms that you usually have to fill out when you come back in to say that, look, I use money for that, the other, and so on. Yeah? When you come back in. Maybe the ministers don't know they had to do that. Yeah? So you have source of funding, which if it's local, which means you get it from the consolidated fund. You have a loan, right? If the source of the funding is a loan, or if it's grant money, that's a grant that's given to Grenada and so on, if that's the source of the money. So whatever the source of the money is, and the amount of money is within the system as well. Is it that the government is afraid to tell us what some of the sources that they've been receiving money to travel and trips all over the world is coming from? For instance, we need to know if the Prime Minister, whose company is a registered CBI company, he is the partner, he's the main partner. It's called Mitchells and Partners, you know. Yeah. So we need to know if he, the Prime Minister, the person signing off on the CBI and so on, if some of his trips have been paid for by CBI, other CBI agents or CBI marketing agents or so on, or maybe somebody that's applying for CBI. Are they some of the people that have been paying for some of his trips and some of his ministers' trips? Because that would be a definite conflict of interest, and indeed he may need to look at the Integrity in Public Life Act. If he's the minister in charge, has a CBI company, and so on, help put together the CBI committee, and then you're traveling and tripsing around. I mean, come on, we really have to, we have a call online. Good night.
Good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Good night to members of the Talking Point family, New National Party. Sheldon, after I listened to the clip that you just played, it leaves me to wonder who Mr. Cornwall or Minister Cornwall think he is. Mr. Cornwall, if he had worked in the Ministry of Finance for such a long time and understands the principle of accounting and accountability, as his good friend Uncle Tilly loved to use the word, or had used the word in the past, and fool the Grenadian people to get into government, he needs to go back and re-educate himself again about the principle. You talked about the source of fund, and this is very important when you talk about money laundering. And if you have cases like that, it brings the point, where is the Accountant General from the Ministry of Finance, who, at the end of the day, how are they coming up with a realistic budget? Who are they fooling? Anyhow you take it or you twist and turn it, they are trying to mama guy, they are trying to mislead, and they are trying to stifle information. So there's a lot of questions to be asked. More questions than answers here tonight after we listen to this clip. I want persons who are listening to this program to be very mindful and start making up their mind, because there is no better to come from this government if you're hearing what is going on in Parliament. We need to step up the game as members, as party supporters, as persons who have avid interest in Grenada going forward and Grenada developing and progressing, and the well-being of our people, because we've seen where the trickle-down effect. This is not something that is just simple. They're not providing answers of relevance to the nation in a timely fashion. reporting information in a timely fashion is one of the principles of accounting. And if that is not done, it tells that there is some unscrupulous activity going on with our purse.
Well, you see, my friend, that's why you have a thing called the Public Accounts Committee. And that is why Dr. Mitchell was asking them to reformat the setup of the Public Accounts Committee so that you can have it doing its work properly. As it is right now, it makes it difficult to do their work and do it properly. And I think I'm beginning to think now that is being purposely done.
They are interfering with the process of due diligence. In court, you have due diligence. In accounting, you have the same thing. And in our own life, you have due diligence. If the process cannot be continuous, it cannot be transparent, it means that there is something hidden. People, wake up. Grenadians, listen to me carefully. Wake up. Wake up. It's time you all start researching and holding those ministers, those persons who said that they were going to bring about changes for you all. They said they were going to bring about changes, but you see what is going on. The amount of persons who are now falling down and dying because of stress. Some persons have been mysteriously, it's like you say, they mysteriously disappearing. They're dying. They're expiring. Come on. This is hurting a lot of persons and the trickle-down effect. We do not want our country to develop a case of anarchy where we all start fighting among each other because we see what they're leading. The supporters are also instigators of confusion. They will come on the lives, they will make conflict, they will make confusion. This is not the type of Grenada we come to know in the past 15 to 20 years. We need to stay on a steady path if we want to see anything constructive going on in Grenada. Thank you. I rest my case.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
And you see, okay, you're doing your national budget. Your national budget has three sources of money, right? Local revenue, which is from the taxpayers. That's the money in the consolidated, right? Your local revenue. You can also have money from loans. You can have money from grants. So that's three different set of money you can have to fund your local budget and so. Now, those monies have to be accounted for. And if individuals think that they could go ahead and not give that information to the Grenadian people, well, something had to definitely be wrong with them. We have a call online. Good night.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, go right ahead. You're live. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm glad that you was able to play that tape because the tape revealed that the questions can be answered. The tape said that if asked, they will be answered. They can answer it.
But they've been asked.
But they've been asked already.
But they've been asked about four times.
So the point remains that the relevant civil servant is aware that the question is relevant and the question can be answered. But the Parliament are saying they can't find it at this time. So the Parliament seems to that they didn't ask the proper question. And if that is so, I can tell you that throughout the duration of this Parliament, there are going to be a lot of questions asked that is not being answered. We have to prepare for that. Again, I'm saying it, there will be a lot of questions asked and the Parliament would not answer. It's not that they don't have the answer. From what you say, tell us that it's not that the civil servant or the ministry workers don't have the answer, but it's how the parliamentarian wants the question to be answered. It's how the parliamentarian want to give the answer. Because what Mr. Cornwall is saying is different to what the workers are saying. The ministry workers are saying, if asked, I'm sure what you say that. If asked, they can be providing. And they already asked. So you will be asking a lot of questions and we won't find the answers or proper answers. Believe that. Throughout the duration of this Parliament.
Yeah, we will have it seems as though we will be having a constant problem when it comes to that.
Right.
It seems as though we will be having that problem.
We will have it.
Yeah.
Because I need to notice the Parliament is structured just for that, and you close Parliament. So by midday, all Parliament for the longest time could start 9 o'clock and close by midday. People's business. And you say the Parliament is the people's business. Sad thing, but we have to live with it.
Yeah, indeed. All right, thank you much, my brother. 440-7377, that's the number for you to call and get on to the inside. Yeah, I'm seriously concerned when it comes to that. What are they trying to hide? Because what you can find there, because they're refusing to answer these questions, and because of the shroud of secrecy in relation to this particular issue, it leaves, in my mind, it leaves the space that these individuals could possibly be funded by some people that they really should not be being funded by as the government of Grenada. We don't know if it's criminals. We don't know if it's terrorists. We don't know if it's international arms traffickers or drug dealers, because the government refuses to give information that they have. They can't say they don't have it. All right, we have a call online. Good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon.
How are you doing, sir?
Hey, good man.
All right, you go right ahead.
Sheldon, I hear something today in Parliament that I just started, I laughed and I started to wonder. Sheldon, the guy was one of the youngest parliamentarian inside. He was speaking, and he said that when he listened to different programs, radio programs and social media programs, he realized that a lot of venom is out there. Venom. People has a lot of venom.
Oh, he listening? Ask something for him, don't worry, it coming.
And
I hope he listening. Not tonight, but ask something for him.
For the last 10 years, this guy was only preaching and pushing venom. In fact, he took the Prince of Hate, the Prince of Venom, and went house to house with him. When this guy was saying all kind of venomous things about people, pushing this hate, he never denounced it. He never said, boy, these dirty things you're saying about people, we're going to spoil our society, going to spoil our democracy. Stop it. He went around with him. In fact, he take that venomous man and bring him in Carriacou and give him an award. And I hear that man standing up in the Parliament and talking about venom. These guys breed venomous snakes. They hatch the eggs and they breed these snakes out there. And now they want to complain and say about venom. But the venom that they're getting is that you take 50 from poor people. They're talking about it. That is venom. You fire poor people working in places. You push them like if they was not Grenadians, and they're talking about it, and that is venom. People speaking up for their rights, and that is venom. In fact, Sheldon, they take a lady on board with them who push one of the most greatest venomous descriptions for Grenadians by calling them the needy and the greedy. And they took her on board in their campaign, and now they make they have her in their government with high position. And these people talking about venom, I just, I had to laugh. I said, this youth don't know what he's talking about. And he don't know that the venom that is now, what he wanted to say is what he creating, what he causing. And if the society have venom, is they teach the society to struggle that way by preaching venom. And I know the people that is crying out and speaking right now is not venom they're speaking. They are speaking of the hurt that they're getting from this administration. Their grandmother off the list for no reason. They take the 150 from them. They need the debushing. And when they go out there, people insulting them and telling them you didn't vote for we, and we to eat now. And I mean, if people crying because these things are hurting them, and people seeing things in the country that is not right, and they're speaking about it, and he calling that venom. Sheldon, I just had to laugh. Thank you, Sheldon.
Well, that's some black mamba venom for him in the door. He'd come in. Well, good to see, good to keep. Venom? Yeah, venom yet. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. Yeah. Let me see if I could get this one now.
That's the follow-up question. The next question, Mr. Speaker, question number 2. Will the Minister of Finance provide the Honorable House with a list of all names of each delegation who traveled on behalf of the government from June 23rd, 2022 to May 31st? And then question number 3. Sorry, yes, that's question number 2.
Is it, Honorable MP, is it question 2 that you want response to?
I asked question on the other paper I have here. The other paper, question 1 was the list of the names of delegation. Question 2
Yes.
was the total cost, yes, of the trip.
All right, so
Question 1, I have not received this list. And no answer.
Oh, no, I see.
You see the point?
Yeah, no, I see.
That's why I myself was confused.
Yes,
about
yes, no, I see.
One being 2.
All right. Honorable Minister for Finance, is total cost?
Mr. Speaker, again, I want to reiterate the point that not all travel undertaken by ministers of government and staff is funded by the government purse. And therefore, if the Ministry of Finance does not have it in its system, it's impossible for me to report on those matters. Thank you.
Folks, it is in the Ministry of Finance system. The Minister of Finance just told a lie to the Parliament of Grenada. It is in the Ministry of Finance system. Yeah, look at boxing, microphone, all kind of thing. It is in the Ministry of Finance system. The smart stream system is directly attached to the Ministry of Finance. It is in their system. So he just told a lie to the people of Grenada. We have a call online. Good night. We have a call online. Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Scott.
Hi, good night. You're live.
Yes, I have a concern. Mr. Scott, there is someone, a lady in St. Andrews South East constituency. She have a monthly job. She getting paid every month. And Mr. Scott, I seen that this lady get a contract to work on the road, Mr. Scott. I think that is right, Mr. Scott. There is people out here who is not working. I think the people who is not working, that is the people who are supposed to be getting a work, Mr. Scott. Not the people who working and have a monthly salary and still getting a contract on the road, Mr. Scott. That is not right. I think the government is supposed to do something better than that. Thank you.
All right, my brother. So, as I said, I heard of one who is working in a constituency office. They're employed at the constituency office, and yet still that individual has gotten a contract to, the bushing contract. So they have, but we know, because when you have people like Django and all of them, they have 2 and 3 thing, and Andrea St. Bernard and them 4 and 5 thing, and Orlando Romaine and all these people and them. You have to understand that there's the modus operandi of this administration. Yeah? Who have must eat more. And who don't have, the taking the little they have away from them. As somebody was explaining in a message to me a little earlier, it's not just the 150 that they take from the people under the seed program, It's they have reduced payments outside of that to some of the other people under the seed program. Some have been taken off the list totally as well. So outside of the 150, there are people who have gotten even less. After they take out the 150, they still take out again. And then you have others who have been taken off from the program totally without a proper explanation, without proper reasoning, without even a proper assessment that they have been removed from the list. So it's who have gained more. But back to the original point though, the minister is lying. That information is easily retrievable again. Let me just explain it to you all like this. Government accounting system is called Smart Stream. You can ask any of the financial officers at the ministry and so on. It is extremely easy. Even if the information was not at the Ministry of Finance, it is very easy for one officer in the Ministry of Finance to take a morning. They don't need to take a whole day, a whole week, or a whole month to do it. To take a morning or part of a morning and phone around to the different ministries and ask the financial officers there to send that information over to them. Although the information is already in the ministry, yeah? But if they want to do it that way, they could go and they could call them and they can ask them to send that information over. Yeah, it can be digitally obtained and it can be collated properly. For this month, these are the people that have traveled. These are the sources of funding, etc., etc. It is very easy to obtain that. We have a caller online. Good night.
Hello, good night, sir. Good night, Sheldon, and good night to your listening public.
Good night. Go right ahead. You're live.
All right. Sheldon, I have listened all the complaints and plight of Grenadians for a very long time now, over 1 year. Sheldon, you must know, too, that we in government know we can preach, we can talk, but it's the same thing we get in. We can talk about the 150, nobody ain't gonna do nothing to it. Sheldon, we could talk about the debushing and who getting 1 or 2 contracts, we ain't gonna do nothing about it. We just get into government. Give us a chance. Let we run the government. That is the implication that they are spreading on the ground. Give us a chance. So then we're making too much noise. We talking. We hurting people. You know what? You know what they say in Parliament today? They say people have a lot of gripes. People have issues. And the people who are saying that know that the thing is not working in their favor. They know that, but they are still, and their supporters are still saying, "We in charge. We're doing good. Give us a chance." When I hear those remarks, Sheldon, I am very ashamed of some people who are making those kind of statements. And public radio station, Shaggy station, and other stations, they're making those remarks. Give us a chance. So what we're saying, what the opposition leader and opposition members are talking about, the crime we can fix. Just give us a chance that we commit more crime. Let young people get more frustrated. We can fix it. And I am advocating. Sorry, number 10. You have to speak now. You need to start speaking about the conditions that exist in our country. You need to let people know you stand for truth and right, because you advocate that truth and right. And this is my issue this evening. Sheldon, I'm worried. People, let's keep the faith. Let's keep strong. Let's continue to advocate the right of the people. Let's continue to listen to our people, the causes of our people. The problem that we face day after day. Sheldon, we are doing good. I'll leave you with those words. We are doing good. But the government say, people supporting the government say, give us a chance. We are doing good. Let me see what will happen for the carnival. Look at the rise in crime, the rise in murders, the rise in death toll. Whether it's homicide or not, we don't know. These are issues we have to tackle in our system. And you remember, they said when a country has a lot of crime, tourists don't want to travel because people are frustrated. We don't know who is the next victim. I pray God that there is not a next one Thank you very much, Sheldon. Have a blessed night.
All right, my brother. Thank you. 440-7377. And yeah. Now, the caller just mentioned crime, and we're going to get to the Prime Minister's so-called press conference in a while. And, you know, I listened to Dr. Mitchell speak on some issues, and I'm still waiting on the Royal Grenada Police Force to report on that shooting incident that took place in Brizan, where police officers were fired upon by individuals who know what was involved in, but the police was there, them was there, and they shoot at the police, right? I'm yet to hear the Royal Grenada Police Force speak on that. And it seems as though you're hearing things and the police force is not sending out information. I remember back in the days, I used to have to walk when I worked with the newspaper. I used to go up to the fort and so on. They would give you a printout. These are the people that they've detained for the week and different things like that. And you could get all that information. And then that you started seeing the press releases coming out. Then you started seeing press conferences and all those things over the years. Now you're gone back to, yeah. So the Prime Minister is giving a press conference. He's staging a press conference in relation to the issue of crime and violence in Grenada. He basically offers no new solutions because everything that he spoke about during that press conference was everything that the new National Party has been telling him for the last couple of months that he needs to do. And many of the initiatives that he spoke about are things that were put in place and started by the new National Party. So when he speaks about going to the Grand Bacolet facility, just remember that your advisor in the Ministry of Youth, Mr. Patrick Simmons, was one of the people that held back that project from being built between 2008 and 2013. Yeah? It was when the new National Party came back in that they decided that that facility had to be built, because had it been for people like the advisor in the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Mr. Patrick Simmons, you would have never built that facility. They were against it. They were saying it's better to spend money on football than spend it on young people who are in trouble. So now you understand why the ministry is the failure that it is right now. For the minister, for Ron Redhead, the minister, to get up as a young man, yeah, who has achieved a position in Parliament, is a minister, for the dum-dum to get up and try to offer some hope and direction to the young people of Grenada. He stand up talking this stupidness. For him to stand up and say to the young people, even within his own constituency that he represents, hey, I care about you all. I want you all to behave yourselves properly. If you're drinking, don't drink too much and so on. For him to offer some words of advice. But then you see, he so can't offer advice to anybody. Because them who does be in rum shop skanking. And now they see the new National Party. So they heard Honorable Kate Skeeter, Louis Peters stand up and talk about the initiative that the new National Party has done with the young people. And all of a sudden they run now. Yes, NDC women doing. So NDC do our youth too. NDC women go in and do something this week. They're asking for well, we can't get details on it yet. You can't get details because all you just probably think up of that yesterday because NNP make all you look bad because NNP was doing something even before it got to this stage. Yeah? You all hold state power. The minister's supposed to stand up and say, listen, I ain't boasting, I'm just stating a fact here. Honorable Emlyn Pear, in 2013, as the Minister of Youth, Sport and Ecclesiastic Affairs, as it was first before it became Religious Affairs, Honorable Emlyn Pear, and I was the junior in that ministry, did more in 6 months, in fact I could even say in 5 months, did more in that ministry than Ron Redhead, with our other minister above him and 2 advisors, has been able to do in a whole year and some. 100 times more than he has been able to do. How much young people they engage in new programs? How much young people you hear they went on the blocks and they recruit into new programs? How much young people they have training in small business? How many young people are getting new training opportunities through them? All you're hearing now is this one frightened, that one frightened. You're hearing, well, okay, meeting with wardens tomorrow in the stadium. Wardens frightened because they don't know if they come in, they go in, if they get fired, if they don't know what to expect. They're just being told we're meeting with the Prime Minister tomorrow. So you have all of these situations taking place. And when you're looking for hope and you're looking for direction from the leadership in this country, in particular in the Ministry of Youth, you have none. I spent 2 years in the Ministry of Youth, and I could tell you the track record of the Ministry of Youth when I was there with Emlyn Pierre in charge. You could take that and you could put it up against 5 years of any NDC government, and I will tell you, including this one if they make 5 years. You could take 1 year and put it up against that and beat them. You could take the period of time when you had Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis Peters inside there, Senator Nolan Cox inside there, and you could take any 4 months of their own, any 5-6 months of their own, and put it up against the year of the NDC. And they've outclassed them by far. So for the minister, you have crime taking place in this country. To those of you who are non-Grenadians and are listening, we are still the safest place in the Caribbean. You ain't no foreigners getting involved in nothing. Yeah, we are still the safest place in the Caribbean. We are the most beautiful and we're still the most safe. I will always say that. But I want to be able to continue to say that. That is why we are saying arrest the problem now. Then you have some of them dotishly out there saying, oh, NNP blaming NDC for the crime. Where did NNP blame NDC for the crime? What we are saying is there is a situation. Come out with measures to address it. So the Prime Minister speak, and it's best like he didn't speak. Because number one, he go and he write some speech, he read. You can't even talk to the people from your heart in relation to an issue like this. You can't talk to the young people and them from your heart. Then all of a sudden now, anytime the Prime Minister has a Zoom, they have this thing and they're bringing in journalists via Zoom. And so journalists like, all you need to have to start to go in person to these press conferences again. Because it seems as though they're always having a problem when it comes to the public to hear you all questions and so on, or to get you all on. So it seems as though that problem keep cropping up all the time now. Yeah, it didn't used to happen under NNP time, but it started happening now. They're having problems for you all to get your questions and so in. So every journalist know how to be typing in questions and all, so they could just ignore what they want to ignore, read what they want to read and that kind of thing, ain't it? Yeah, so like you all gonna have to go in person to these press conferences now. He offered not a shred of hope. And in fact, towards the end of it is when he had to be reminded that it have a thing called the Royal Grenada Police Force, you know. My goodness. We have a call online. Good night.
Hey, good night, Brother Sheldon.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm okay, man. Okay.
All right.
How are you?
I'm good. You go right ahead.
Yeah, Brother Sheldon, let's put Honorable Emily P. and Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis. They led the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Young People with distinction. Right? The Grenadian people could be proud of these two young ladies, the way they lead young people. And they, out of government, they still continue to demonstrate that love and care for the young people of Grenada Caribbean Peter Martinique. We could get people together to speak to them and to walk a positive road. You have a minister of youth. He knows not about leader ministry. All what he did to do is to make confusion with people. The minister, the Prime Minister, need to get rid of that minister and put somebody else in charge of that ministry. Because he knows nothing about leading. Right? All what he needs to make chaos. And Brother Sheldon, I'll just focus on that in Parliament today. Brother Sheldon, you know, like you are doing a business, eh? Okay, let's say you're doing a fundraiser. Okay, like you might go to seek funds and for your fundraiser. Whosoever donates anything to you, you take down the record, you put on that on a book. You say, right? So then the money that you spend from previous fundraisers that you had before, you have that. So then you might take out that, you say, about $300 or $400 from the money you have in your possession from previous fundraisers, right? So then you calculate that what you spent from what you had from fundraiser before, and then what donation that people give you. You have a record, so you could get an update as a treasurer in any association. You get a report who donate that to you, so you get an update of what. So when questions are asked in a meeting, You should be able to give that. And Brother Sheldon, I know definitely the Minister of Finance, and that question, that the answer is in the Ministry of Finance. They could get it, but that's some fishy for you to come and say you can't find the information. They could find it, but they refuse to give the information. So asking the question: is the Ministry of all different ministry comes like a private affairs of ministers? Right? If your private affairs or your private business, okay. But this is your public business. Your public business, you have to report in Parliament. So the people going to compete could know what happening. But you refuse. You don't have. They have it. They have the answer. But they just refuse to give the answer. I come and lie in Parliament. So, Brother, what happened there? They continue to lie for they lie to get power, and they continue to lie and to mislead and to deceive the people going to compete. But Brother, I always say, you could lie. Or some days to come, your lie will catch up with you. And people will see to your lie. And when you speak the truth, and you continue to seek the truth and seek information, the information will come out somehow, Brother Sheldon. So, Brother Sheldon, have a blessing.
All right, thank you very much, caller. Folks, and remember, I want you all to click. Yeah, remember to click. And for those of you on YouTube, I want to see the likes go up to 100 within the next 5 minutes. Yeah, I want to see, in fact, I want 150 tonight. So yeah, let me see the likes go up to 100. Same on Facebook as well. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Encourage people to subscribe, especially to the YouTube page. Encourage people to click the subscribe button and the bell icon. So every time the program is coming on or we broadcasting anything at all, you would see the notification coming up, because we have some things we're going to be putting out over the next couple of weeks. And so just letting you all know early, and you all would not want to miss that. Outside of the program at a night time, via the Talking Points page, we will be putting out other stuff. And I want you all to be in the know. So make sure that you subscribe and so on. Also, when you subscribe to the YouTube page, in case there's a problem with Facebook, you all can always remember go over to YouTube. In case you don't want your name showing up as viewing, right, you could go over to YouTube. So let's see only on 92 day, I want to see it go up to 100, man. Yeah, right, 150. Nice. And give me a little 100 over on the Facebook as well. Nice, beautiful. 440, let me just clear the phone box. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on the inside. Absolute madness. Listen. Back in 2005 it was. Started working with the Ministry of Youth as the public relation officer. At that point in time, you had little incidents happening from time to time. Now, coming out of Hurricane Ivan in 2004 and then Hurricane Emily in 2005, you'd realize that a lot of young people had some pent-up frustration, anger, that sort of thing. And that's why you had different programs. There was the artistic program where they was dealing with that, and you give them the chance to work it out and that sort of thing. And then the Ministry of Youth was doing what it had to do, and other agencies. Now, there was the National Crime Strategy that was developed. I was actually searching for the document, because I think I still have a copy of it somewhere around, where it spelled out what each particular department at that time had to do. Whether it was the Drug Control Secretariat, Mr. Dave Alexander, and then back in the Drug Control Secretariat, they had their particular tasks. Dave Alexander. They had their particular tasks that they had to do, going around to the schools, interacting with the young people, and so substance abuse detection and addressing those issues. Right. They had their thing. The Ministry of Health, because youth crime and violence is a health concern, right? Because when a fella get his hand chopped off, is the Ministry of Health have to deal with them? Is the doctors and nurses up there that have to deal with them? Yeah, they don't just get a hand chopped off and go home, It's the hospital they're going in, right? So whether they die or they injured or they crippled, is the hospital that they end up in, isn't it? Right. So it's a health concern. So the Ministry of Health had its part it had to play, inclusive of the mental health aspect of it, right? The Royal Grenada Police Force, the prison service, right? All departments, the Ministry of Education on several levels, whether it's at the primary school level, secondary school level, etc., right? Whether it was the teachers or the principals association or the students association or the parent teachers association, each of them had their specific role that they had to play in dealing and addressing with the issue of youth crime and violence. I'm speaking quite back in those days. And that is how you were able to address a lot of these things. Because from time to time, you might have them sparking up and you have to find ways to address it. Yeah? The Ministry of Youth was a key partner in leading most of this and bringing everybody together. So that is why back in the days when they had the little red bus that the Ministry of Youth, everybody know the red bus all part of the island. Why they know the red bus? Because the red bus used to be busy. All part of the island, that red bus used to be busy. Where you had the youth officers. Yeah, people like Andy Gaskin. You had Andy Andrew. You had this young lady up in St. Andrew there. Her name is slipping me right now. Yeah, all departments. LO up in St. Mark. Yeah, Natasha and the team and so up in St. Patrick. You had these people all over. Yeah, you had Shem and all of them in Carriacou. So all over, these teams had their particular job. And the ministry was always busy. But now we're hearing who is NNP and who is NDC and this one had to go and that one had to go. That's the nonsense you're hearing now. We have a call online. Good night. Hello, good night.
Shetland.
Hi, good night.
Good night. How are you doing?
Well, fair to find. You can go right ahead though.
Yes. Listen to me. We are asking something from the Prime Minister which we will not get. I keep saying that we will not get the Prime Minister to address the issue about crime in Grenada. Right? The Prime Minister and them, they know what they did. The candlelight and the vigil and whatsoever that they invoke Mary Bishop spirit. Right now you cannot go against the spirit. So they cannot address that crime issue. How much are the pastors you hear saying anything about the crime? We have about 14 murders in the country in 7 months' time. How much of them here saying anything? Right? And I want to ask the Prime Minister one question. Why he was saying Pity Matnik, Grenada, Pity Matnik, Carriacou and Grenada. When I was growing up, my mother told me there was a man who went and invoked the dead. And then he had us to read backward. So that's just a food for thought. Pity Matnik, Carriacou and Grenada.
All right,
you have
bye,
to read
brother.
backward in order to get the spirit. Okay.
Thank you very much, caller. and yes, what he said about the pastors. Let me say this, I would say that I have definitely heard from 2 pastors who have sent out voice notes in relation to this issue. Pastor Dave King has sent out, I got a voice note that was in circulation from Pastor Dave King, where he was speaking to the young people. And Dave King has always been a person that goes out when you have these problems. If it's one pastor in Grenada you could count on, is Dave King. Another one I could count on is Pastor Happy, because I know Pastor Happy, yeah, he like them kind of thing. Go out and interact with young people all on the blocks everywhere. He loved that. But Dave King, the other one I can say that I heard something from, so I want to blanket everybody under one blanket, is Pastor Elvis Hilaire of the Seventh-day Adventists. He sent out something as well. I don't know how many of you have heard it. How many? I had to change how this microphone does be enough, and I'm boxing it up. I talk with a lot of emotion and I keep boxing up the microphone. But yeah, Pastor Elvis Hilaire of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, he has sent out something as well. I've heard it over the weekend. A thoughtful intervention by one of our religious leaders. So I just thought I would mention those 2. So we don't think that all pastors have to be lumped into the same category. But I've heard from Pastor Dave King, well, Bishop Dave King, I think he is, right? Bishop Dave King. And I've heard from Pastor Elvis Hilaire. I've got voice notes that were in circulation by both individuals speaking to some of what is taking place in our country right now. And oh boy, I was about to punch in that caller. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. Yeah. So when you're speaking about these issues, imagine Dr. Mitchell is there and he's speaking about these issues and you have people on the other side laughing. That's thing to laugh at? For these people to be crying, they're laughing? There's nothing for you to be laughing at. There's life and death. Life and death. We do not want our country to be one where you're finding somebody every day. Every day, every other day, you hear they find somebody, here they find somebody, somebody take a life or take their life. We don't want to be hearing those kind of things. Yeah? We don't want to be hearing. And when we say we don't want to hear it, it doesn't mean that we want to put our head in the sand so that it's happening, but we don't hear it. We mean we don't want it happening. And as such, we all have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to play part in addressing this particular issue. You're seeing what the opposition is doing. Yeah? There's what you're seeing and there's not what you're not seeing. But they are doing their part. Whether it's Dr. Panshu, or whether it's Honorable Kate Skeeter, Louis Peters, or whether it's Honorable Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, or whether it's the Honorable Peter David, or whether it's the Honorable Clarice Modest, whoever it is, you're seeing them doing their part. Whether it's Senator Nealon Franklin or Senator Cox, you're seeing them all playing their part in ensuring that they do something to try and arrest this problem. So what you have to do is find the causative factors, and I think Honorable Peter David was pointing that out in Parliament today, that you have to find what are the causative factors that kept us so peaceful and calm as an oasis of peace, that you have to find those causative factors, and then you have to try to expand on those causative factors. So why are we such a peaceful country generally? What are the reasons for that? And how do we maintain that? Yeah? And then find out why what is happening now is happening and try to arrest the problem. Whether it's financial, people don't have money, so they're frustrated. Whether there's depression coming out of COVID-19, a lot of people was in lockdown like if they're in prison, that kind of thing. It may have affected some people psychologically. They may be throwing out some of those emotions at this time. But what is it? We don't know. I'm just speculating. We don't know. And therefore, you have to address that. Or whether it's the candle blight. We don't know. The pastors have to tell us whether it's the candle blight. We don't know. So we have to find what are the causative factors and arrest them. And do it now. Because if for this period last year you had 3 murders, but for this period, for this year, you have 40. Well, I ain't 15. Yeah? For this quarter. For this, not quarter, this part of the year. Now, something definitely had to be wrong. How you jump from 3 up to 14? Something definitely have to be wrong. What is causing it? But no, laugh at Dr. Mitchell when he's talking on these issues in Parliament and he's offering solutions. The New National Party sent out their release on last week they had the sessions with the young people, even before the last couple murders take place and suicides. They had the sessions with the young people. Yeah, before that. Not after it and say rush and do something. They had it before that. And then they sent out their release over the weekend in relation to the crime situation, calling on the government to do something. Yeah? Mr. Prime Minister, you go to talk on crime. You ain't bring your commissioner of police. Where commissioner of police? Kind of hiding. Why? Mr. McKenzie's a nice man. He do have to hide. Why? If you as Prime Minister are going and speak on that issue, I would have thought that the person sitting next to you would have been your chief person dealing with this thing, your commissioner of police, to offer some reassurance to the general public that, hey, we will have the situation under control. Yeah? We will ensure that you could sleep and leave your door open if you feel like it. Yeah? We will ensure that you are safe at your home or your business, or when you go out to party, that you won't go out and come back in one piece. But instead of that, you have the Prime Minister there talking in theoreticals, not saying anything practical that is happening. Yes, the Ministry of Social Development and so on has the hotline, the hotline for when you have depression and that kind of thing, and they offer psychosocial support and that sort of thing. Yes, that is what they have been. That is why the Ministry of Social Development and so on. They've been doing that for a long time. There's nothing that they just start doing. They've been doing that for a long time. So to come and tell us that doesn't mean that your government understands there's a major issue now and is trying to address it. Yeah? It just means you wanted something to say, so you're going to say that. But one new initiative. Yeah? As the Royal Grenada Police Force tried to meet together with the Ministry of Youth, I had such a good relationship with some of the police officers while I was attached to the Ministry of Youth, and I'm not speaking about the period after 2013. I'm speaking about before that. I had such a good, and still have, a good relationship with the Royal Grenada Police Force that some people actually thought us a police at a point in time. They say, well, that's the police with locks. Because I had that relationship with them. Yeah? And the police understood it's not just about go out and pick up people's children and brutalize them. But you have other things where you have to speak to young people and try and encourage young people in positive behaviors also and offer avenues for young people. But instead of that, all you have is these. Watch 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program.
A Grenadian man up in Miami, pick up the phone and telephone me, oh God. Small axe, I know you could comprehend. My PM, I want you help me defend. Imagine the man just got in power. He says he's Grenada biggest liar. Said the man is an attorney of law. Yes, the man is a big liar. In case you still want a clue, he wanna go big case against workers for SGU.
Let me say a good night to you, Ashley Lewis, out there in Los Angeles. My good friends in Virginia, those of you out there in Washington, D.C., North Carolina, the one or two in South Carolina, Texas, good night to you. Florida listeners, good night. And of course, New York City.
Said should be 650. That man is a liar. To get the nurses to hush, he top up the post with 500 every month. That man is a liar. Yes, a real big liar. That man is a professional liar.
Every time I think of what we have right now for a Ministry of Youth, I'm seriously hurt. Seriously. I'm serious. I mean, as if the Ministry of Health wasn't bad enough, then you have a Ministry of Youth that nearly, I mean, other countries used to ask for either your Minister of Youth from Grenada or one of your project officers or somebody to come over to their territory to help them with their youth projects. Yeah? Could be anywhere from Turks and Caicos down to Suriname. They used to ask for your youth officers here from Grenada or your Minister of Youth to come and speak with them, to come and explain how you're doing things like Imani or the Youth Enterprise Program, or how you're doing the redirection programs like Fly and so on, how you're dealing with all of these things. Yeah? But now, you reach that stage now that Grenada Ministry of Youth is a laughing stock. A laughing stock. Mr. Prime Minister, it is time that you take the firm decision and fire your Minister of Youth. It's high time. You need to do something. Something had to happen. So, in fact, you had to fire yourself too, as Minister of National Security. But fire your Minister of Youth and your Minister of Health while you're at it, and you could throw the Attorney General in the same barrel. Ministry of Education, yeah, you could throw him in that barrel too. In fact, just make a clean out. Because it just ain't going right. Just ain't going right. You have to make a clean out. Seriously. Something definitely wrong there, man. No. That can't be what we have and accepting as a Ministry of Youth.
Yes, a real big liar. That man is a professional liar.
Tell you, anybody who knows, could I tell you straight up, do you used to see that Ministry of Youth red bus with the white writing on it? Yes, right after Ivan, it didn't have no back window. The back window did mash up after Ivan. But that Ministry of Youth red bus used to be all parts of the island. Yeah, Deslin, that's the young lady in St. Andrew. Yeah, that used to be all over. You had Elva and so on, down in the south. But that Ministry of Youth bus used to be all over, not going on Lime. It used to be going and engage with young people and get them involved, get the fellas on the blocks involved in some kind of program. You know how much fellas we went and take off the blocks who working right now? That was just lying on the block, doing nothing, looking to get themselves in trouble, and we were able to redirect them out of that type of behavior. How much young ladies was heading that direction too, and we were able to redirect them into positive behavior. I listened to the Minister of Social Development talk as if it's only a problem with young men. Mr. Minister, some of the young men acting that way and being goaded on by some of the young ladies. Some of the young ladies just as dread as the fellas, you know. Some of those young ladies just as dread as the fellas. So if you think it's only a problem with the young men, you have to also address the problem with the young ladies as well. Because we tend to think sometimes that, oh, the young ladies good and everything all well and good with them. But I remember when we were dealing with some of the gang, quote-unquote gangs, that it wasn't only fellas that was in the gangs. It was young ladies too. So we had to redirect those young ladies into some positive behavior. And I'm so glad to see how some of them have kept themselves up to now. Some of them not even in Grenada. They get themselves to a level they start to understand what life is about. And they even travel and so on. And improve themselves. But if you ain't interested, all you're interested in is that you could receive an extra $2,000 a month after less than 6 weeks of work. If all you're interested in is how much plane you could jump to go all over the world so that you could come and show off your passport and say, well, look, I have this stamp and that stamp, I've been to here, and this one could say, well, when I was in Germany, or when I was in Africa, or when I was in El Salvador, because they like to drop place names to let you know that, well, I've been traveling and I've been here and I've been there, and so what? It's on Earth you went outer space. You've been on Earth. And right now, you still refuse to tell the Grenadian people how that being paid for, and trying to give the impression we don't know. So we don't know right now if it's criminals, crooks, who it is that's been paying. Yes, look at a person messaged me here, the Badness Out of Style program. Because, and I remember Honorable Emlyn Pierre pregnant in the late stages of pregnancy. Them fellas on the car and I feel sorry for her. Jigga and them boys and them put about 3 chairs. Tuggy and Jigga and all of them, they put about 3 chairs together. Because they say, oh gosh, they just don't want her fall. So they put the chair together for Emlyn Pierre to sit down. Right there on the end of H.A. Blaze Street, right by Long Step, to talk with the guys and so. And to interact with them. Because of the war that was taking place with them and the guys down in Granans. And to put an end to those kind of things. Yeah? So you had Badness Out of Style, you had the Youth Pulse where was going around the island and interacting, young people was getting something to do on a weekly basis and so on. Getting involved in culture and all different things. It has some guys, their music careers down inside, they start off. Yeah, dance, music, different things. They get to interact, they get to meet with other young people. They get to move around the island and learn places and different things like that. This Ministry of Youth, tell me, are you feeling the Ministry of Youth? Are you feeling it? Are you hearing it? And I'm not blaming the staff, because the staff know what to do. But if they're leaderless, the staff in the ministry know what to do. If they only sit down and talk with the staff and say what they want to achieve. There are people that I know in that ministry are very capable of carrying out various programs to interact with the young people and stop some of the nonsense that we see going on. But if they are leaderless, if you're only watching people to say, well, that one looked like he was friend with Sheldon, that one is a NNP, and this one is a NNP. Just like they do with Queen Show, it's same thing to doing in the ministries, watching people, this one is a NNP, and that one is a NNP, and not looking that is a person that could help you deal with the issues that are happening right now. Instead of dealing with that, they're focusing on politics. So that is how the idiot could stand up in Parliament today, talking about listening. If you're listening programs, please try to learn that you as a minister have to address these issues that are taking place. We're not saying you're causing it, because see some of your airhead friends and them out there saying, oh, NNP only blaming NDC for the crime. No, we are saying that you in charge, you have to address the problem. And not just address it as in have a national address. Yes, that is important. You must come out and speak. But when you come out and speak, at least try and make sense now. Not what happened there today. Come out and make sense. What new initiative you have that a young person listening today to the Prime Minister, any of you can tell me, what can any young person that was listening to the Prime Minister today take away from that? You think he inspired any of the fellas and them who lying on the block right now? They sit down, smoking the little thing, them and the fellas drinking and so too, and they have a little knife down in the pocket or they have a cutlass down in the waist. You think anything he said today inspired those young men to say, boy, let me try and ease off that kind of thing now, boy. Let me stay home and try and get something positive to do or go and look for something positive to do. You think anything he said today encouraged those young men to come out from that situation? You think anything that he said today was impactful on the target audience? Come on, really and truly. 4407377. We have roughly about 17 minutes remaining on tonight's program.
And everyone shall meet prominent. The man is a liar. He increases salary, decreasing money, which he said should be 650. That man is a liar. To get the nurses to hush, he top up the post with 500 every month. That man is a liar. Yes, a real big liar. That man is a professional liar. I'm telling you deep in that conversation, he said he not speaking about profession, oh God. The PM is a real nice guy, but people said he better than Bong to lie. I say, well, mister, you puzzling me, because Bong to lie is an attorney. Well, the man get vexed and he start to bust. Take transformation in your shot A, and you could make yourself a big clown. And right about now, his boots on the ground. The man is a liar. He promised the nation before consultation that he close in MNIB. The man is a liar. He promised us to rent a plane and he come back and say he ain't renting the plane again. That man is a liar. He told us to take heed. He will control seaweed. He will trap it in the ocean.
Yes, folks, and I want to play another piece of Today for you. I was just making sure that I had it queued up properly. So let me see if I can get this one. Yeah.
Next question, Mr. Speaker, therefore, is about Western Main Road. What it says is that what is the new financing timeline for the Ministry of Infrastructure and new estimated costs of the project? What is the original amount of financing received? What are the names of the delegation traveled to CDB to renegotiate the financing or to find an update on the financing of the project? Are there any changes in the plans and designs of the project? And if yes, what are these changes? And what are the service providers?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This question, Honorable PM, before you respond, let me just make some comments here, please. So, thank you. With respect to the questions, not more than 3 questions should be asked to be received an oral answer in Parliament. Not more than 3 questions, right? So you have a number of questions here that whoever has to respond to them should provide written responses to whoever the question is coming from. But the standing order says not more than 3 questions should come from an individual and expected to be answered orally. All right? Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to answer all 3 by subpart 6, 18 questions. I have no difficulty in providing the responses. So I will start with the first question. What is the new financing timeline and the new estimated cost of the project? There is no new financing timeline. There is no new estimated cost of the project. The original cost of the project, Mr. Speaker, was US $52 million. So that takes you off the original financing. And I should point out of that $52 million, Mr. Speaker, £1 million was provided in technical assistance as of what originally was the UK grant funding, together with an additional $6 million US. As the public has been aware, and as this also may be aware, Mr. Speaker, because of the delays experienced when we took office in implementing the project, the UK SIF grant component of the fund was lost because of the delays in the implementation of the project. As you're aware, Mr. Speaker, the UK has since been experiencing its own significant fiscal challenges, and as a result, during our time in office, we engaged in discussions both with the Caribbean Development Bank and with the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and we were able to secure grant funding for the Southern Water Project, which would have been the dual component of the UK SIF projects. What are the names of the delegation who traveled to CDB? No one traveled to CDB. The CDB visited Grenada as part of its normal engagements with the Ministry of Finance and other stakeholders here. Are there any changes to the plans and designs of the project? No. And so the other question becomes redundant because there are no changes. And who are the service providers? The service providers who we met and who were contracted by the prior administration are Best on Consulting Limited, Design Consultants, FDL Consultant Inc. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. The leader of the opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have a follow-up question, if you allow me. There's a minister indicating that the original consultant for the project, Best from information that I have, was sent a terminated letter by the present government. The minister aware of this, and subsequently I also understand that that termination letter was then cancelled later on, causing delays, from what I understand, the information that I have. That's a follow-up question, if the minister could read the answer.
Sorry, it's information he has, it's not information that I have.
Okay.
It tells you perhaps someone obviously is able to supply with information that is not able to supply the actual minister.
All right, thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. Leader of the opposition.
Second question, Mr. Speaker, is what is the concern that one is close to my heart? It concerns the Modern-Year landslip. And it says, what is the time frame for the completion of this project now? Who are the current consultants? And who are the current service providers? Have new surveys been conducted? Are there any changes to the plans and designs of the project? And if yes, what are these changes?
All right, Honorable Prime Minister, I suggest that you provide written answers to the leader of the opposition, because it's only 3 questions, oral questions, that are allowed to require oral answers. So I don't want a continuation of questions and oral answers.
I'll be guided, Mr. Speaker, but given the discourse that went before me, I thought we'd be happy to have the public know the answers to the questions.
Yeah, we have to stay within the standing orders as far as possible. Right? Honorable Prime Minister.
Now, I need to say here that what you've just heard there is not actually correct. It is within there is enough leeway that the Speaker could have allowed the Prime Minister to answer the questions. But he is trying to shield the Prime Minister from answering the questions and his voice being there saying the things that he knows has to be said. So he's trying to shield him from answering questions like what is taking place with the River Road project. And I'm pretty sure that everyone who uses the River Road or lives in River Road wants to know, especially after what took place over the weekend, what is taking place with that project. Yeah? If there's a problem in relation to the financing, what is taking place in relation to the removal of the humpback bridge, because it was found that there's a kind of choke point, so they wanted to remove that bridge a little further up and so on. You realize that the water was able to escape at that particular point because there's no wall running through there, because that was another component of the project, and the project is stalled. I ain't seen no workmen, no nothing down there. So Grenadians want to know what is taking place with the financing, what is taking place with the actual project and so. But the speaker decided that no, that ain't important for you to hear. The same thing when it comes to the Molyneux project. Now you heard the Prime Minister saying that there's no financing, so on, etc. for the Western Main Road. In other words, there's no Western Main Road project again. In short, that's what the Prime Minister has been saying. But you also want to know what's taking place with the Molyneux project in specific. We have a call online.
Yes, good night, Brother Sheldon. How are you doing?
I'm fine, brother. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing
All
good.
right. You go right ahead.
Right. So we said it before, and I'm saying it again. When our leaders, okay, one would fear the Almighty God and start to respect other leaders, like the opposition team and etc., especially in the parliament, in the nation's house. Our young people that are looking, don't think that the young persons of Grenada are not looking and taking note of the way that our leaders are behaving in the parliament. So that the disrespect that they are giving to Dr. Mitchell and his team, well, I'm so happy that they start coming around and trying to answer some questions that's been asked to them. Right? So you find that psychologically that will have an effect on our young people, because they are thinking, okay, if these babies, so-called babies that are in the parliament, responding to the father of the house, right, and other experienced parliamentarians like Peter David, the Honorable Peter David, and Honorable Clarice Modest Cowain, and the Honorable Pierre, and the others, Skeeter Lewis, and so forth. If they would respond to these persons when they ask them questions pertaining to things about our nation, they will, our young people and the people on a whole in general, would respect Dr. Mitchell and his team. But if they would not respect them when they go in the parliament, they are laughing and jeering and behaving in that manner, right? They would think, well, it's just a comedic show that they are having, so nothing serious, right? Then the other thing that they are doing, that they are calling good evil, and they are putting evil for good. So when they are doing those things also, disrespect will come, a curse will fall on them and our nation in a whole. So that is the reason why we having so many crimes and threats going on in this country. And yet, for all, Sheldon, they're talking about uniting Grenada. How in the world can we be united when that level of disrespect and level of hate and hypocrisy is going on? I rest the case because the time is out. Amen?
All right, my brother. Thank you so very much.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, folks. And we are coming up to the end of tonight's program. But let me say something here. Grenada is coming up on its 50th anniversary of independence. 50 years as an independent nation. After what I heard when it came to the Queen show, what I heard from Ms. Jenny Simon and from Shirma Wells and so on, in relation to the attitude of individuals involved in the Spice Mask Corporation, the ministry, and so on, the minister himself, when it comes to the Queen show, to the point of where people ended up having to resign. Some people who are not even political at all, but ended up having to resign. I asked myself the question about the independence celebrations, the 50th independence celebrations. Here it is. You have the New National Party, who got, well over 20,000 votes, I think it was closer to 30,000 votes at the last general election, represent a significant portion of the Grenadian population, really represents everybody. When you're in opposition and when you're in government, you represent everybody. But as to people who support the party, significant number of Grenadians support the New National Party. And yet still, I have not seen or not heard the government ask the New National Party to play a role in the 50th anniversary of independence. And after seeing how their supporters are behaving, after hearing the things that their supporters are saying, you know that you ain't getting that call at all for the New National Party to have any representative on the Independence Committee or the Celebrations Committee or anything like that in relation to the 50th anniversary of independence. None. You ain't go hear it. You ain't go see it. So I might end up having to treat that in the same way that we had to treat the Queen Show and other activities. If you don't want us there, then we might have to find alternative places to go and alternative things to do. Yeah? But I think it is important as we're heading into our 50th anniversary of independence, and it's a point in time when we should be trying to unite as a people, when we should be trying to get everybody together. Everybody together. I find it strange that the people who keep talking about unity and let's work together and let's unify the nation, that up to this point in time, I ain't seen nothing coming to the NNP saying we want you all to be part of the process, we want you all to be part of the independence celebrations, we want you all to work with us for independence 2024. Take note. Folks, that's all the time. Oh gosh, I know 2 phone lines ringing, but folks, I can't stay. You know how it goes. That's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you in everything you say and do. Do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott. I am out.
A Grenadian man up in Miami, pick up the phone and telephone me, oh God. Small axe, I know you could comprehend. My PM, I want you help me defend. Imagine the man just got in power. He says he's Grenada biggest liar. Said the man is an attorney of law. Yes, the man is a big liar. But in case you still want a clue, he wanna COVID case against workers for SGU. The man is a liar. Said by the stroke of the pen, every contract shall end and everyone shall make permanent. The man is a liar. He increased his salary, decreasing money, which he said should be $650. That man is a liar. To get the nurses to hush, he top up the boss with 500 every month. That man is a liar. Yes, a real big liar. That man is a professional liar. I'm telling you deep in that conversation, he said he not speaking about profession, oh God. Love the PM is a real nice guy, but people said he better than Bong to lie. I say, well, mister, you puzzling me, because Bong to lie is an attorney. Well, the man get vexed and he start